This podcast is made for fun and is not subsidized. Hello and welcome to Orinda's Talks Fantasy and Sci-Fi. I'm your host Orinda and today we are talking about Thunderbirds with Marc Seven. Thunderbirds is a British science fiction television series created by Jerry and Sylvia Anderson. The series has been set between 2065 and 2067. Thunderbirds follows the exploits of the Tracy family, headed by ex-astronaut Jeff Tracy. Jeff is a widower with 5 adult sons: Scott, John, Virgil, Gordon, and Alan. The Tracys make up International Rescue, a secret organization founded to save people's lives. They are aided in this mission by technology-advanced land, sea, air, and space vehicles that are called into service when conventional rescue methods prove ineffective. The most important of these vehicles are the 5 Thunderbirds machines, each assigned to one of the 5 Tracy brothers. In 2015, ITV made a reboot of this wonderful children's program. I always have loved Thunderbirds. I love the birdies, but also the characters. I always had a crush on Scott and Virgil. I even based my own character on the Tracys. In that time I wished I would be part of the Tracy family. I always loved it that they would save people with their great machines. Although I really needed to get used to the reboot story of Thunderbirds, I am liking it more each time I watch it. Our guest today is Marc Seven. He is a retired Master Sergeant of Brazilian Air Force with a passion for sci-fi. Hello Marc, thank you for joining me.
Hello, Orinda. It's a very good pleasure to be here. Thank you for having me.
If I say Thunderbirds, what's your first thought about that?
My first thought about that is how I love it to see those machines working. I was fascinated from sci-fi since when I was 4, 5 years old, and believe me, it was a long time ago. It was in the last century, and I was every time fascinated by all the machines they use it to save people, and that was wonderful. Until today, I love to have the machines, I love to have the props. I love everything referring to this wonderful show, Thunderbirds.
Yeah, and I think also from your occupation as a Air Force, I think that's also bring memories back, I guess.
Yes, I can say all my good taste for sci-fi also guided me to choose my career in the Air Force in Brazil. I served there 30 years by first as a technician of aeronautics and meteorological instruments. And then I started to learn myself to how to program computers. And after that, I spent most of my career taking care of computers and programming and making adjustments with that. It was a nice career inspired by the brave people who use science to save people.
Yeah, that's nice. So you have watching Thunderbirds from the start, I guess.
Yes, I watched this since I was a kid, so it was so important to me to get on time on TV and see all those things happen. And even if I only can understand that after some long time, when I try to understand how the brains make all those motors to function, all those machines to function, it's still a mystery to science today. But even so, it was beautiful to see, and I can say it was and is inspiring.
Yeah, you say about brains how he could make those machines, but I think Thunderbirds could be real, and like Star Trek as well. It's yes, it's fiction, but it also can be future.
I'm quite sure of that. Science fiction is a way for the man can dream with its own future. They can say it's there where I want to be. It's there where I want to stay there and realize I have this power that science gave me. This is science fiction for me. So
Mm-hmm.
we need to guide our dreams in a positive way.
And that's also, of course, what you see nowadays. The space programs are more important now than it would be in, like I say, 25 years ago or whatever.
My personal perspective is I am what I can say. I told you so. When I when I was a kid, people mocked at me because I only talked about science. I told them we will travel in space. We will build rockets and spacecrafts, and we will have computers everywhere. And people mocked about me, and that was a very hard to a hard time to be a nerd. But it's not today. Today is the best time for a person that had that time like I did to see everything I wanted now finally happening.
And do you have any favorite Thunderbirds aircraft?
Oh, of course, I love Thunderbird too, because it looks like more my own career. I love to know everything and to have a version of a right tool for everything I need, that problem I need to solve. And Thunderbird 2 always fascinated me.
Yeah, and I didn't want to do this, but if you have you ever seen the new reboot of Thunderbirds?
I think they paid a very good respect to the first series. The first series came from 60s, and now we have Thunderbirds Are Go that had a complete story. I saw all the episodes. I can't miss them for anything, and I love it the way they treated the technical, the scenes. They even make film with models, not everything with computer, with CGI. They
Mm-hmm.
they they respected the manual work they did with miniatures. It was fantastic. They didn't give up completely to CGI. I love the way they respect the first series by doing the second one.
Uh, do you think, or is it that, for example, if you take Thunderbirds 2 from the 60s to the Thunderbirds from Thunderbirds Are Go, there's a lot of difference. Do you think that will be harming the franchise?
I don't think so. I pay very close attention to both versions of Thunderbird 2. The modernizations are very clear to see, and we can see even more things that the first show didn't show. So I think, as I told before, it pays a respect to the first and valorize with more details the second one. I love it.
And do you think if Gary and um, what's her name, Sylvia Anderson were still alive, what would they say about Thunderbirds Are Go?
Uh,
Because I know Sylvia have worked, of course, to Thunderbirds Are Go, but I thought she passed recently.
Well, we always have problems with personal opinions. We will never see so many people say the same thing about a new version of something. We have lots of problems about that with Star Trek, for instance. Many people telling bad things about Star Trek Discovery, and you can't control that. You can't control foreign opinion. I think Sylvia Anderson will say, "Why so few episodes?"
Mm-hmm. Okay.
You know, I think she will like it because they wore some respect to the old series, and everyone could feel that. I believe Sylvia and Gary, who made this, would get their hands inside this, would note that respect, and they will recognize that.
So we talked about a little bit of the birdies. Can you tell me what you think of each birdie? I call them birdie, but okay, you know, the Thunderbirds aircraft. Can you tell me about, of every Thunderbirds aircraft, what you like about?
Well, the Thunderbirds are I love Thunderbird 2, as I told you, but
Mm-hmm.
I love the way one depends of the other to make the complete action, to make the rescue a fact. So Thunderbird 1 is a fast one. It can get first in the place and inform all the team and orient the team how what to do. Thunderbird 2 brings the correct tools for the job. Thunderbird 3, if the problem is higher, okay, Thunderbird 3 goes to space because we need as soon we step on space, we will surely need help and we will need rescue on space and the Thunderbirds Are Go series explores that point too. Thunderbird 4, it's always carried by Thunderbird 2 because it is the best tool for a job under the sea. And Thunderbird 5, the satellite that take care of the world and intercept any distress call is on complete the team on make the team reachable everywhere. So the team of Thunderbirds, the five machines, they are essential to show everyone how a teamwork should be.
Yeah, I agree to that. I always loved that too. Also, also because they are one family, but also they are just putting their lives hold and to go on a rescue. What do you think of the storyline of Thunderbirds Are Go? Because that's a very different storyline than the first version of Thunderbirds.
Yes, spoiler alert. So the first thing you note in the Thunderbirds Are Go is the lack of the father. That old and rich astronaut who was there, not there, Mr. Tracy, and he's not there. The sons are there taking care of the job like it's a natural thing to think. Things go on, people die, you know, the family proceeds. Another thing very interesting is we see so many difference between people of the same family. You know, Mr. Tracy acquired something very rare to put the whole family to work in the same dream. It's very rare. But once it's achieved, the team can be the best team of all. So we started Thunderbirds Are Go with this premise, and Mr. Trace is not there, unfortunately, but the sons are, the job is done, and some old enemies are there too, giving them more work to do. So life is not easy. But if you want to save the world, you you surely will not expect things to be easy, of course. A friend of mine used to say, if I want everything easy, I was chewing water.
Do you think that international rescue will be for real in the future?
I don't think so because the international rescue will be a very unique situation. They need to be secret. They need to have a technology that no one can transform in a weapon. These are situations that humanly and psychologically and politically you can't prevent. You can't foresee. You know, we can have many institutions for rescue, but all this together, like we see in Thunderbirds, I don't think so.
If we talk about the villain, the big villain of Thunderbirds, of course, the Hood.
Yes,
What is your opinion about that?
I think it's a very adapted agent for Thunderbirds Are Go, but in the first show, he was more mystic.
Yeah.
He was more mixed. He used more magic. He 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 used what can I say? A telehypnosis to make his brother Kirano to do what he said, and well, he was a real he was a real problem there. Gave him lots of work, and they adapted that to the new series for him to be a very intelligent and rich villain. I think the adaptations to the new times are very good to do with less magic and more science, since everyone can use science for good or for bad.
I don't know if you have ever watched the movie as well, what is a flop, but if you see the hood in the movie, do you think they have chosen good performance for the hood?
I don't. I think the Hood have do his did his work in the movie too. I don't think they could have another choice to create a new villain. So I believe it's a logical choice. But the story itself may be not so complete because the movie you have much more time to get the people entertained, and so you need more fast sequences, you need more musical. You see, in one of the movies we saw one of the characters uh, in love with Lady Penelope, and they spent a lot of time with that, the romance, etc., etc. It's because they wanted the movie to be long. Sometimes that compromised the movie itself, but I don't think it's the villain's fault.
Of course, the whole concept of Thunderbirds is, of course, that with a good ending. And what is? Do you think there's enough action and between, as in the mission itself, but also as the family life?
Oh yes, no one have so much action than that family. Uh, that family, the Tracies, are the people who must deserve vacations in every planet. Normal families have peace times. They are not saving everyone every day, but the Tracies, oh boy, they know how to live in action. I think yes, they have action and they have surprises and then have every day something new to deal with and to be creative and to solve the problem. That's a thing you don't take psychologically every day. You know, I don't think it's even healthy.
I do think that if you look at the Tracy's, Jeff Tracy is lucky that he could send his boys to different kind of areas in the way of schooling, because that makes his team more valuable. And they also could have said, well, that nice thinking of you, but no thanks to me, but for me. But yeah, I think he's very lucky with that. And then also, of course, the few people around him that he really trusts with the secret information, like the Corona family, that are part of it, and they keeping his secrets safe, and also the whole living with it, because that must be difficult too.
Well, before even the series start, Jeff Tracy had the the most interesting superpower, the same superpower of Batman, money. He had everything he needed to trust of the brains, who had also a treasure in that brain in the techniques and to build motors and vehicles that no one could have without transform that in a weapon. And he forced everything to do for to be built for good. And that needed for that he needed really to keep all in secret. And the persons who he must trust most of all, you can't imagine anyone than family. And even so, we saw families with having problems with that, and people who not valuing those bonds. having problems, but in that family everything works.
Yeah, and I think that's in one way people want to be like them, but also
Yep.
it's also like if you see it for children, it's also like an example and in one way a value of for their own lives. Like if people, if someone is in need, you try to help them.
Yes, that family is made of heroes, and heroes is what we need if you want to have inspiration to our own lives, to have something good to inspire us to be good too. I think today we have less shows like this. We need more shows like this and more people to be inspired. You know.
Yeah, I remember when I always come from school, it was always first Little House of the Prairie, and then it was my brother's favorite, the Thunderbirds and Dragon Ball Z.
Mm.
And then we had another few programs. So it's if you look at the children programs like Thunderbirds and etc. It's what I always see in the old series is that they always have some kind of a teaching lessons in it for children,
Yes,
and that's
that's
what I
that.
miss. That's what I miss in nowadays children programs.
I share your statement. I share your thinking. It's exactly what I think too. And that doesn't make me old because I saw those in the 60s. I can say that because children today are more important, are more preoccupied with their own phones than in how can they help people. I
Yeah,
believe we need more shows like that for everyone, not only for children.
the only one thing I always, well, hated is a big word, but maybe a bad thing in that show was that everyone was smoking. But that was in the 60s, of course, very normal.
Yes, that's how they try to do the illusion more believable. And rockets at that time until today make a lot of fog too. So the ways to do that change it. You have the new series of Disney Mandalorian. They have a revolutionary way to make movies. They have new techniques. They have new effects. So we need to incorporate that in our stories. I hope, sincerely, I hope we have another someday another Thunderbird series. We had Thunderbirds. We had Thunderbirds Go. We have even Thunderbirds 2086, an anime from Japan. Did you hear about that?
No, I didn't.
And it's not considered canon even, but they were Thunderbirds. They were international rescue, and they saved people.
I heard a lot of that in that the Asian world cinema is, I don't want to say copying things, but more they have their own version of it because, well, I was talking about with my friends Blade about it when I did the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers episode, and he talked about that too. That in Japan they have a also a Power Ranger series, but um, for example, the Green Ranger there will be dying after he turn on the Green Ranger coin,
Mm.
and but so it's not totally. I never heard about it, but I didn't know they had a Thunderbirds version of in Asia.
Okay, so take a look of this. The Thunderbirds original series had 32 episodes, and with only 32 episodes, they changed the world.
Mm-hmm.
How made people like us that love science, like love technology, and love to save people. They made also in the 82 this other series, Thunderbirds 2086. They made only 24 episodes. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Now we have people who love Thunderbirds that made three seasons of the Thunderbirds are go, in a total of 78 episodes, all of them delicious to see. So I'm glad this is still working. I'm glad this is there is some people who is worried to do that and worried to talk about that like you. So let's go. FAB.
FAB. Is there any episode you recommend to watch? Or is there an episode you really like?
For the old series.
Yeah.
I can't remember specifically any one, but I love the way the that movie, that first movie,
Oh, yeah.
that first movie
With the
with the
stingray.
first. Yes, they go to Mars and they save a very big ship that's landing, and they help it landing not to blow out. It's wonderful.
Mhm.
That's my favorite, I can say.
We have talked about the aircrafts. Do you have any favorite characters?
My favorite card is Jeff Tracy, the man who
Okay.
made his family to dream his own dream. That's a very hard thing to do.
Yeah, it is. I think even now, even you have money, I think it's very difficult to plot your family into the family business in that way.
Yes, yes, yes. But the family understood his dream and they trained it, and that was also uh, uh, gratifying for them, because each of one have one speciality to do, and
Yeah,
that made each of one of them to feel special in this team. It was nice.
yeah, indeed. Is there something you like to say? Anything else about Thunderbirds?
Well, I would love to say what they usually do in every episode. Five, four, three, two, one, and here we go.
Yeah, I love that one. It's the yeah. I think that's the mark of the Thunderbirds. I guess that centers of Jeff Tracy.
Unforgettable series, and I hope they make more.
Who knows? That's only we can see in the future, of course.
Well, this is the difference between American productions and English productions. We can see the Englishman and the English producer made what they do by passion, and they
Mm-hmm.
know then they know people will like it like we do. So I think we will see more of Thunderbirds in the future, and I hope that, and I wish all of them much success.
Okay, good. Well, it was nice talking to you. Thank you for being my guest today.
Thank you too.
And I hope we can talk to you again in another episode.
It will be my pleasure. Thank you.
Thank you. If you like this podcast, you can like and subscribe on all the platforms. You can also follow and comment on Podbean and Google Podcast. On social media, the Facebook group, the Discord server and YouTube channel of Orinda Talks Fantasy and Sci-Fi Podcast. And on Twitter at OTFASP. Let me know what you think of this episode. In the next episode, we will talk about Lord of the Rings. I'm Orinda, and thank you for listening to Orinda Talks Fantasy and Sci-Fi. See you next time.